KKHT wants you to meet three of the classiest guys in real estate.
I am Chris Kelso, the maestro of mortgage.
I am Rob Cook, the godfather of real estate.
And I'm Joe Orsack, the king of credit swing. And together, we're
the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Much like us, real estate right now is smoking hot. So whether it's buying, selling, or owning, you need to check out the Real Estate Rat Pack.
They're here to take your calls and answer your questions live. Call now, 1-800-808-5548. And now, the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Same thing
Every day, no
Just
change.
never gets old for you guys.
No. Never does. Never does. Especially your face.
We've got like, I don't know,
I'm
like
seasoned.
60 recordings of that howl.
Yes. And every time it improves just a little bit.
Yeah, legend in your own mind. I am very excited about our show today.
We have a great show going on
Oh,
today.
no kidding. We have Doug Goff from Johnson Development on. Welcome to the show, Doug.
Thanks, Rob.
And I've been watching Johnson Development for probably my entire career. I remember my first intro to him was, I think you were doing a project over in 610, and that area had some land over there. And
Oh, gosh.
So Lakes of 610.
Yeah.
That was my first intro to the Johnson Development. And my understanding are you are like the largest developer in Houston now.
Well, I don't know how you determine that, but we've been
Let's just go
quite
with that.
aggressive.
Yeah, I mean,
We said so. It must be true.
If somebody objects,
It has to be.
We'll just call it puffery.
Yeah.
We were just like the world's greatest hamburger, type of thing. So, talk about your career. How'd you start with Johnson Development, and what was your first position, and what's your position now?
Well, I've been in this business about 35 years. Spent 5 years prior to that with a family organization that was in high-rise development. And so since that time, been in land development, arrived in Houston in 90 with Mark Burrow, where we were developing new territory in a number of other communities around Houston. And in 95, I'd known Larry Johnson actually through our industry association, the Urban Land Institute. And from that introduction, at the time he was negotiating and purchasing Sienna Plantation. And so in June 30th, 95, we bought the property, joined the organization. There was less than 10 of us at the time because he had just started Silver Lake. And so we gave life to that thing in October 97. And today, after about 17 years, I think we've got about 7,000 houses and
Oh my,
who knows,
it's a small
25,000 people or something.
How many
whatever it
lots
is.
remain in Sienna, if any?
We're actually involved in developing the southern portion, 3,700 acres, that Toll Brothers acquired last year. We had sold that property in the 90s, and it changed hands a few times. And so consequently, Toll Brothers, a national public home builder, purchased it, and we're in the process of developing about 6,500 homes for them over the next 15 years or so.
That's amazing. You just did a remarkable job down there, because I remember when I first went out there, I remember when I was home building out in Sweetwater, Lake Olympia was like the furthest most point that you'd go to, and then all of a sudden I see in, like, say about 97, I'm going, they're building another subdivision out there? How do you get there?
Yeah, Highway 6 was a little two-lane road at the time.
It was two lanes and had a lot of lights on it. I remember that, too, things like that. But you've done a remarkable job on that. How many builders do you have in that?
Well, the program has wound down, and now it's winding back up. And so we'll have probably in the neighborhood of 12 to 15 builders actively building programs from...
And hopefully one of our guests is one of your builders there.
Yeah.
For listeners out there that are not in the real estate business, they don't understand the process. What does it mean to be a developer? What does that process from the beginning look like for you guys that you do?
It's a pretty scary process. You're out there. You're sourcing land. You're trying to find property that would be most suitable for all of the issues that you want to deal with, school districts to accessibility to proximity to employment and shopping and all of the above. So that's the first step. And actually in the last 12 months, we've been pretty active, bought about 6 different properties, 10,000 acres we've added to the portfolio in and around Houston. Obviously,
there's still 10,000 acres to be found in Houston.
Not all in one location, but we're blessed to be in the best real estate market on the planet for what we do.
Absolutely.
And, I just can't overemphasize that. And so we be very careful making our decisions because what we do lasts a long time. So we'll be going through several real estate cycles.
A lot of steps, though. You got environmental impact studies they have to do. You got a feasibility study. You got to get the engineering, all the infrastructure in place. I mean, it's a lot of moving pieces in that.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to kind of say. Touch on that. Okay, so you find a property or find a location that kind of fits y'all's needs on the first step, and now you've got it. What does it look like after that?
Well, in most cases, we will negotiate a development agreement with a local municipality or county, and which sets a framework for the rules that we will develop by over the next 10 or 15 years. Because in this business, you can't be subject to the next city council's whims of changing regulations or requirements. So if we have that in place, then we move forward with the engineering and planning and environmental studies and all the rest. But the beauty of it is we can bring a property to market in about 18 months here.
Wow.
Where anywhere
That's a
else,
lot faster
if
than
you're talking anywhere else on either coast, it's 5 to 10 years at least.
Wow.
And one of the things people don't realize, I think, is, as Houston is expanding and everything is sort of moving out, it's just as important to find a great real estate agent, which we're going to talk about in a minute, and a great builder, but also the developer has a lot to do with it. Let me tell you, as these communities are getting bigger and they're moving outwards and you're seeing these master plan communities come about, it's important to go with somebody like Johnson Development because in that beginning stage, y'all absorb a lot of the HOA, y'all absorb a lot of the maintenance, a lot of the growth factor associated with it. And if you're not with one of the major developers, that can actually, the downturn in 2008, we saw some of the developers could not handle some of those side of things. And so that's
kind of where I was touching on from a consumer standpoint. Is I think there's a lot of time there's not for the average first-time home buyer or somebody who's just getting into understanding the real estate process doesn't necessarily understand the separation between the builder's role and the developer's role.
Right.
Where do you pick up and end off, and where does the builder then come in?
The builders are actually our customers. We're basically dirt guys. We go out there and put in the streets, put in utilities, all the things that it takes to create a finished lot for a builder to build a home on. All of that has no perceived value. What we really do is create an environment through our entry statements, our landscaping, our amenities, the pools, the jogging trails, all of the things that people today are looking for their lifestyle to raise their family. That's our job, and then we sell a home site to a builder who then builds their dream home.
That's actually hit a buzzword we use a lot of times. Nobody buys homes anymore; they buy a lifestyle.
Right, yeah. And then that's what they do is they create that lifestyle. I mean, if you look at, for example, Tuscan Lakes versus Cross Creek Ranch versus Sienna Plantation, everything has its, I want to say sort of like Disney World, right? Disney World has their style to it right there. Everyone has their specific amenities.
Going for the experience.
Yeah. On the experience side.
Early on in 2000, we put the very first major water park on the ground in Sienna. And again, like you say, there's so much upfront cost in the land and in the entitlements and then all the infrastructure. So our approach is to do most of all of that with equity. And then you don't, because as soon as you start putting debt on it and you hit a down cycle, you're going to run into some trouble. So from that standpoint,
you mean you're using cash? It's like un-American, isn't it? But during downtime, trust me, I know what it feels like to.
We have a good market will make you look smart, and right now, we're feeling pretty good. But brilliant. At the same time, we brought Wood Forest, a 3,000-acre project up just north of the Woodlands, on in 2007 and 2008, and So anyway,
that was a great time to into the market.
But if you'd waited till now, it would have cost you probably 3 times as much.
Absolutely.
In land costs. So I mean,
without a doubt,
pioneers end up with the arrows in their back, but also when the market turns, and they always turn, then they can look like genius. If you have staying power, and of course we had a lot of developers who did not have staying powers, and the banks froze up in 2008 and 2009 for those people who depended on borrowed money.
True. I mean, that's the only thing we know for sure is that there are cycles, and as good as it is now, it will slow down. And, we're hearing rumblings of that with the oil pricing issues that are going on. But
I think oil has to get,
to be expected. There
was a number that was thrown out. It has to get below like $60 or $50.
It has to be below $70 for it to have a small impact. Below $60, we'll see a major impact. Yeah. So there's a couple of changes right now, hovering around the 80s. Obviously, for Houston, we want to try to make sure that oil stays in, between an $80 to $90 range at least. because if you look at the growth that we have, you look at everything that's going on with ExxonMobil on the north side, with the energy corridor, and Phillips 66 off the Beltway. Now we have a lot of growth still coming in, and we want to maintain that. But Houston also is very diversified versus where we were before, and you've probably seen that through Johnson. I mean, one of the largest employers in the city, believe it or not, is not oil and gas from an employee perspective. It's actually the healthcare industry.
Really.
Yep.
Biomedical is one of the largest industries in Houston, and it's one of the largest growth industries in Houston as well, as we've seen one of the largest medical centers in the world.
Yeah, we had the CEO Herman Memorial come and talk to us, and it's amazing what they're doing. They're doing it everywhere. So talk about the developments. How many developments do you have currently active?
We've got 12 communities. We actually have about 40.
Okay, here's the test. Name them all.
I can do it. I think if you want to go around the line.
Let's go around the city.
Okay, in the southwest, we have Sienna Plantation, Riverstone, and Imperial Sugar, the redevelopment of it, that site.
And that, for people who don't know, that is also where the Skeeters Stadium is located right next to there. That is correct.
Minor league team.
That is correct.
Who drew 500,000 people last year.
I know, incredible.
Into our community that wouldn't come otherwise.
Yes, and let me tell you, and the stadium is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's one of the best experiences you can do to go out to see a professional game and
it's got
truly
a great family atmosphere.
The family atmosphere is amazing.
They have to work on the name. There's nothing I like about a Skeeter.
I know. Well, they have the Mud Hens also.
Mud Hens, see, that's fine. That's fine. I can enjoy mud.
From there up to the Grand Parkway, we're opening a new community called Harvest Green. It's a little over 1,000 acres at West Airport Boulevard. We'll bring that to market next year. It's going to be unique from the standpoint is we're incorporating sustainability. Low-impact development standards, bioswales, taking the water, filtering it before it gets into the systems. We'll have a farm-to-table operation where we'll have community gardens, and every home has the opportunity to have a garden in their backyard.
Well, I hope we get an invitation to come see all that.
It'll be on the ground this coming year in 2015.
Wow.
And then in the Katy Fulshire market, we've got Cross Creek Ranch. We purchased it just a few years ago. It now is... Well, backing up, Sienna, Riverstone, Cross Creek, and Wood Forest, we're proud to say, are 4 of the top 20 best-selling communities in the nation. Wow. Riverstone being number 4.
That's amazing now that we say Katy Fulshire like together in the same breath.
Yeah.
That was like, might as well have been, Oklahoma and Texas or, whatever, that far apart. But they're all bleed together now.
Truly.
No. And of course, it ruined 1093. I used to ride my motorcycle out there. I'm out in the country. I'd get to be right around where West Park ends right now, and they'd say, "Oh, it's free." Now it's like just like any other place, a lot of lights and going along. It's really gotten developed out there.
So you were still going around. What was it? You were going around to the other ones?
From there, we bought 2 other properties out in that market that we're bringing probably in another 12 months or more. Willow Creek Farms is an active project off of I-10.
In the Brookshire area?
Yeah. And then moving up, we have Wood Forest just north of the Woodlands, 3,000-acre project. We just bought Camp Straight, the Boy Scout camp.
Wow. Yes, absolutely.
That's on 45 and Loop 360.
There.
Everybody has slept there. We have more people wanting to help us with that project because they have a vested interest and a personal connection to the land.
Oh, yeah.
I've been in tents there many times in my life as a young man.
Beautiful property. It's a mile and a half of frontage on both of the freeways, and it's heavily forested, rolling terrain. And of the 2,000 acres, over 1,200 are going to be preserved in perpetuity as natural habitat.
Wow!
Oh, wow!
I think that's smart for developers to recognize that people, when they do go out and buy a lifestyle, that you're not just trying to maximize lot yield. They need to have something there that they're proud to go see in open spaces, and
that'll make it a very special place for the
it
people
will
who
be
do live there.
Yeah, it's very nice, and so keep going.
Okay. East of 45, we have a property called Harmony, another 1,000 acres roughly that we're developing on behalf of an owner on a fee basis.
They used to be Discovery.
That is correct.
That is correct.
Yeah. And then on the northeast, Fall Creek, at Beltway 8 near 59, we're just nearing completion of it, where the Shell Houston Open is played. And then finally in the southeast part of town, we have Tuscan Lakes in League City and Edgewater in
That's amazing.
Webster.
I know all those names and haven't done all. That's an amazing.
And what's amazing is I've been to every single one of those communities,
Is that right?
and I tell everybody is I will say this, believe it or not, my favorite development of Johnson of all time is still Tuscan Lakes. I love the feel of Tuscan Lakes is absolutely amazing. But everything you do is first class. Everything you do absolutely has a great feel to it. From Sienna Plantation all the way over, as mentioned, to Tuscan Lakes, all the way to what you're doing now with Harmony. It's absolutely incredible.
I think we're coming up against the break.
We are coming up against the break. Time flies when you're having fun. They are sticking around. But stay tuned. We're going against the break. We'll be right back.
You know what? You're lovely. You know what?